Yep, and this is actually one of the blue matchups where the King Piccolo Unison doesn't put as much work. Jared doesn't negate a lot because he wants to go into the combo step.
Yeah, for sure.
Anything that he does play out usually is way too big to be dealt with by KP anyways. So that's definitely going to make it tougher. And once Majin Buu hits the board, then there's going to be some board control aspects that Jared has available to him.
For sure. So Jared going first, playing the Android 18 to Surge Guided Android 16 and passing. Man, I would totally. One of the big reasons I don't play King Piccolo is that by default I play 8 life too many times. I would not trust myself at like a natural level to not put 8 and be like, oh, game 2, I guess. Just a quick pass after doing the flip and swing. Another Android 16 in that energy. And once again, these Android 16s are super good. With the leader, they get to ignore their energy exhaust as well as the art cards you play. So it's really crazy just how much flexibility you get from there.
Yep, and here we see the energy amplification pushing him over to turn 4, Majin Buu being live, and I do believe we see it in Jared's hand. So that's going to be a very powerful turn 3 play.
Yes, for sure. And you have Hatch if you need it. King Piccolo does go really aggressive. I don't think you'd need to for where you're at now, but if you, in case you did need to be like a turn 2 Hatch, you can do it with this ramp.
Yep. So right now, Ernest is sitting at a cool 6 life, like KP likes to do with the Awaken, and Jared here coasting, not too bad. We might see the first damage being taken here, but he doesn't mind that.
Not at all, especially since with the Awakening condition of the Android 16, you're going down to 5 life either way, so not a real big deal.
Yeah, not to worry. Again, those early cards in hand are not something to mind in here. Just the Unison we were talking about, the KP Unison. I mean, still an amazing source of card draw. But Jared having a lot of tools to be able to do with a lot of dual attackers, the double striking Unison. So I do not think the Unison is long for this world.
For sure. And something else, so King Piccolo's been a deck that's been pretty strong for most of this year, but it did get hit with the ban list, specifically with the drum. And so that was definitely, a lot of people went off of the, off of it because of it. So I'm just going to see, I'm just surprised that he keeps playing with it, and Ernest is doing obviously super well, top 8 in a national event.
Yeah, I think it forced the deck into an odd position where it doesn't have as much defense, so it needs to be aggressive, and that's what we're seeing here with the Radiant Saints. A very powerful combo piece that the deck has available. A very interesting choice. I think there's a lot of pan, obviously from Saiyan Showdown, and amazing, especially in this deck where it's almost guaranteed to be free. Kai, because it allows you to deal with board without having to put too much commitment into it. Here, Radiant Saints being Ernest's choice of SCR.
Yeah, for sure. I think it's going to be interesting. I don't know as much on this secret rare. I think the other two kind of outshined it for Flash, but it definitely does have some power.
Yeah, just a very cheap, powerful double striker. It's a 10k combo. It does need to be comboed from hand, so he will have to get that back into his hand, but that's not too troublesome for the King Piccolo.
For sure. But yeah, that double strike definitely will eat away at that Unison if he wants it to, too.
Yep. He's going to be able to draw additional cards now. He's got the additional defense. He's got the double strike now. You could just say bye-bye Unison if he doesn't want to see it anymore, which is fair. I think at this point you're not in a position where you need to pressure the leader. But
and I think Android 16 is definitely a kind of a deck where you have to play its game. And I think something that Jared does really well too is that he kind of makes it look like he doesn't have a lot of options. Especially, I don't know if it, like how he fans out his hand, or like he said only 4 cards. What can he do? And then you realize, oh, he can combo from his drop, away from his energy, and just do things you're not expecting. So.
Yeah, that's the thing. You have to be aware of every zone because they all have sources of interaction.
For sure.
And in ways that he can do things. Not opting to swing with the Majin Buu here.
Interesting.
Very interesting. Did I miss something in that there was a reason he might not have been able to +0? No, he gets the untap.
Yeah, he does get the untap. No, so you do the untap during the uncharge.
Right.
Yeah, so.
But I was just wondering if there was a reason he didn't swing with it.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure. Because I'm not seeing any source of like stopping attacks or anything like that. But do you when you get the card draw for the King Piccolo, can you get that when they swing so you can get the combo during when they swing on the Unison kind of thing?
No.
Okay, then I'm not sure.
Yeah.
That's the only thing I think of that. You didn't want more cycle going in, so you stopped that swing, but I don't know.
Oh, there could be doesn't King Piccolo have like a negate that like searches like a demon clan or something like that?
Oh, there might be that. He might.
Yeah,
Not.
like, it could be something like that.
I mean, he had energy up, and you know, it would be his last swing on the unison too. So maybe just trying to not fall in for bait.
Yeah. Not allow him to establish a bigger board for free or something like that.
So he used the -1.
Yep.
Jared's got a thick stack of cards in hand too. Normally, when we've been seeing him play, it's been half that size. So I wouldn't be surprised if we had another unison in hand.
Yeah. Something that's really interesting about the way that Jared plays his deck is very comfortable at weakening at 5 and very comfortable weakening early. Even myself, I know that when I play this deck, I tend to try and hold off my weaken as much as possible to get the card as much card draw as I can.
Yeah, but at the same time, 10k combos are almost 2 card draws, you know, every turn, and you get to use it on either turn. So it can be, you know, depending on how you see it, +4 card advantage over 2 turns.
Right, and effectively just turning on, you know, being able to do all your arrival stuff from energy earlier and being able to apply more pressure. So very nice. Oh, the topo, very nice.
And no Trump's counterplay for that. That can be really brutal if you say that too. Especially 2 energy in King Piccolo is a whole bunch. It's like most of your turn.
Right, and especially in red, where like if this happens, I mean, outside of an imposing presence, you're just kind of watching the game from that point on.
Yeah, but passing with 5 whole energy open, meaning he wants to be really reactive with his, you know, his androids and 16s from energy and such.
Yeah, he's going to make these combo steps a little bit tough here.
Definitely.
Ernest probably maybe leaning towards like swinging with the leader or the unison into the unison.
Yeah.
Just to make sure he doesn't lose an additional attack off of losing a marker.
And probably swinging at the unison.
I have to imagine. You get the free combo step without allowing your opponent to combo.
Yeah. And so for people also not familiar with King Piccolo, it may look like he doesn't have any life, but he actually flips it face up and it becomes his kind of pseudo combo area second hand in a lot of ways. So obviously if he's out of cards in his life, he does lose the game, but he does now get, you know, perfect knowledge of cards in his life, and he can use those cards with his various effects.
Yep, it's a very powerful archetype that allows you to get a lot of information, a lot of free info that a lot of decks don't have available to themselves.
Yeah.
At any point in time, whenever Ernest takes life, if he wants a topo, he wants a topo. If he wants an SCR, he can get the SCR, you know?
For sure. And, you know, this Piccolo came out with the new rejuvenation keyword early this year, and so that's kind of the part of it. And the Piccolo Unison, though it's not used often, can do that rejuvenation if you need to. But I think everyone was thinking when the card came out, like, man, 6 life is really low. Why would you handicap a leader like that? And now I'm like, I can't imagine if it was at 8.
If King Piccolo is at 8 life, I will say that's beautiful design by Bandai.
Yeah.
Because if King Piccolo is at 8 life, my God, like it already does so much at 6.
Yeah, and I know they're really meticulous that kind of thing too, because it's a fine line a lot of time too, making sure that something is good without being broken. And it's very difficult.
And here we do see the arrival of the 7-drop androids. Fantastic pressure. Procs autos every swing. So definitely something that we've seen the last time Jared was on stream, chip away at the opponent.
Yeah.
That, the Zamasu combos, the little, you know, hand destruction package that this deck has available to it with the advantage that can accrue in blue makes it very, very dangerous.
Yeah. And so we were able to play a 21. He did do the counterplay to give it the minus. Though I think he's choosing which thing to pop, and does he get to choose which life he pings to?
No, I think
21 might say something specifically that says
like you choose the burn.
Yeah.
I mean, could be. I mean, he just picked the SCR, so
which
I
think
have
is
to presume.
the choice. Yeah.
All right, fair.
And so that's one of the new secret rares. Really cool that they're multicolor combos and they are free 10Ks. Just really great utility in hand, everything, and just the quick max Kamehameha to pop the Android 16 as well. Swinging with the big boy topo.
Ernest maneuvering this matchup very well, not taking any life, knowing that burn is definitely an option that Jared has available to him. Establishing a board, but not overcommitting, knowing which turn he might want to be more defensive. So it's going to be very interesting seeing how Jared's going to maneuver this current board state.
Yeah, and I think, Jared definitely plays a matchup where he tries to kind of go into hand destruction towards the end of the game. But King Piccolo just gets so much card draw. Like, that was part of the trade-off with the life, is that it gets so much cycle and everything else. So it's going to be really hard to chip that away. But they're both at 5 life, and I think Ernest has about 7 cards in hand, and Jared has probably around 10.
Yeah, 10, 13 if you count as energy.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, so here we see the swings. King Piccolo using his boards.
Yeah.
Tambourine's just sitting there in his life. So at any point in time, you can bring that out for another powerful dual attack, but we're just going to call it here.
And so leaving that Android 21 can be really scary. We did see a combo off of Zamasu, but if he's got another one in hand, that's just more pressure, more swings, and can just be really, really good. We do see another Android 21 in life as well. I wonder if Rejuvenation will come up today. Like,
It might. I mean, if we're talking about the burn,
Yeah.
like just make sure that you're out of range is definitely an option for the deck.
for sure, for sure. All right, so taking the swing, and it looks like he takes the topo into his hand. Oh no, sorry, but he takes the counterattack. So he gets the blocker on board. And once again, when you have perfect knowledge of your life and being able to choose which cards are the ones you need is a big boon.
Yeah, exactly. And that's that consistent game we're talking about. This isn't going to be a question of whether you see what you need or not see most of the time. It's definitely going to be, am I going to be choosing the right cards at the right time to be able to play, to be able to win this game?
Yeah, and that's what makes this deck, I think, such a high skill cap. And these other lists, like Launch is another leader that kind of does the same thing. And I think being able to get that perfect knowledge is really helpful and just helps, make the game that much deeper.
Yep. So here, Ernest using the Cyberman Negate, putting him down to 4 life, and then subsequently blocking with it, but giving Jared an opportunity to get another arrival body out on board.
Yep.
Those are moments like these. I wish I had the photogenic memory of Zap to know which card names specifically. Because
Android 16, there's not a lot of art. No spoilers, but he didn't last very long, right? And so, it's really tricky. And then also, I don't know if he's consistent with all his art of all of his cards being the exact same, which isn't like a flex or anything. But I'm just saying,
they're all very similar.
They're very similar.
His posing is definitely just powerful, burly man.
Yes, for sure, for sure.
All right, so we see Ernest here go down to 3 with another 821 burn.
And it looks like he's keeping that alive. Oh no, that's the combo, so he can play the. Is that symbol?
That one is symbol.
Okay, cool. Again, a bunch of green demon dudes who, no spoilers, didn't last very long. So, swinging in with the Android 16. And playing the Piccolo Jr.
Yep, a free negate that just goes and is a 20k that costs on board.
That was a very, probably at the heyday of this deck, I remember that promo was very sought after.
Absolutely. A lot of collectability in terms of the cards that were available in those TPs.
Yeah, just having a negate that, I mean, you're not using a lot of energy, so having a free negate like that was huge.
Especially one that establishes your board. Like already you're building a board. So any negate that also does that. I mean, Aegis Destruction is a deck that does something very similar, where all their defensive plays also establish 2 to 3 battle cards.
Yeah, I mean, just the fact that it's a 20k already, but it also has some EX evolve plays. So, but we are seeing the Zamasus come out for Jared. The way he's playing makes me think he has to have a hash in hand. He's playing really aggressive, tapping out, and going from there.
That is usually the cue. If you see blue playing aggressively and looking like they're putting themselves in an uncomfortable position, it's probably because they have the backup of Hatch to make sure they're going to see another turn.
Yeah. So we see in hand we have the Topo. I think that's a Frieza, a Goku, and a 4th card. I think it's a Piccolo Jr. No, it's a super combo. Okay.
So once these monsters come online, this is really when Jared's game plan starts coming together. Because he's fine playing the long game. If he can let these Zamasu sit down for 2-3 turns, ripping out 3 to 6 cards, then at that point he is absolutely fine playing the grind game because his cards are incredibly grindy. They rip cards, they pop board, and eventually he will be able to get there.
Yeah, and the big thing about Zamasu in this matchup though is red is one of the few colors that can consistently get rid of him. If you it does have indestructible, so it's indestructible to almost everything. But if you give it 0 or less, power, it does go away.
Yep. So if Ernest here can find himself another, here's the Hatch. Predicted it.
Yeah. And so he is playing the Yamcha, so he could use it to give these Zamasu minus 15k and potentially do some more board wipe. But he can't go into the battlefield to do it. But also the Piccolo Jr. can stack and give the Zamasu a full 20k. Oh no, or what's the...
So I think maybe they're talking about if it negs the Zamasu, maybe the pop on Piccolo, but the pop on Piccolo isn't a neg ability.
Yeah, that's right. He just pops something 15k less, not give minus 15k.
Or maybe he's trying to figure out. Okay, no. So maybe he's trying to pop like let's say the Android 21. So if I think they're trying to figure out the timing of if it gives negative 15. At what point does the Piccolo proc?
Sure. Yeah, that Yamcha is one of the more unique counterplays in the fact that the timing's really different, I'd say, and it's really specific.
Yeah, it's a window 1 counterplay that hits the cards that are already on board.
Yeah.
So if you're hard casting a card, the impact is only gonna be on the cards that are already there. So yeah, here the judge ruling it that the way the autos resolve, the counterplays will activate first, and then the pending auto from King Piccolo will get rid of the Android 21.
For sure. So, but no more swings for the turn. The Zamasu stays, which is, I'm not sure how I feel about that, but there is, Ernest doesn't have a lot of cards in hand right now, but he does have a whiteboard too.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like you're saying, Red has one of those decks that's capable of dealing with Zamasu.
Yeah.
But the more Yamchas that Ernest is using to mitigate the rest of Jared's board, I think the less King Piccolo has main deck to be able to deal with it. I think Yamcha is very much one of the few options for negging power that the deck has available to itself.
For sure. And once again, so Ernest is only at 3 life, and which could be just 2 life if you play another Android 21. It's being able to snipe that life is huge in this matchup.
Yeah. We did see 2 already from Jared.
Yeah.
So so it is, a little bit tight on whether we're going to be able to see more.
Yes.
But this is a position where hand advantage is going to be king, and if he's destroying hand and has the backup of Majin Buu to be able to out advantage Ernest, it's going to be a very tough spot.
Yeah, that Majin Buu is super good, and can set up lethal. Double strike is huge as always. So we'll see how that goes. Swings in with these. Thinking about it.
Yeah. Jared did draw a Sensu Bean, and one of the best cards against King Piccolo is definitely Bean, being able to get you that 20k spot to make some of those 15k swings a little bit less painful.
Yeah, but once again, Piccolo is in the spot where he can use Rejuvenation if he wants, and that if he is afraid of getting pinged down, that is an option for him. And dropping the Frieza Death Ball.
Which is surprising. That is one of the cards that he could utilize to be able to get rid of that Tommaso. But I think at this point, maybe deciding he just needs to focus on committing his board, being able to slavish that as big as he can, and then going to apply pressure on his turn after if he gets the ability to go on the crackback.
Sure, but I mean, at the same time, too, if you spend 2 cards to get rid of Zamasu, you're still winning this part.
True.
Right?
That is 2 turns of swings, effectively. That's true.
But, it's just dependent on how much, if he thinks he can win next turn, right? So, which I think he was confident that Ashton just came down and prevented that.
Yeah. He's got a white board.
Yeah.
And Jared has a lot of removal, but it's all a single point removal. So if he can sequence his attacks correctly, mitigating the block of Majin Buu, mitigating the -1 proc, then it shouldn't be too bad.
Yeah. So it looks like he is. Was he taking the life for it?
Well, he turned some energy, but it looks like he is opting to take the life.
Yeah. Going just down to 2. And so for the red one, you'd lose blocker at the end of the turn, but it's always a 5k combo, which isn't terrible.
It is nice. The blue one, I believe, does not have combo power.
Yeah.
So it is that nice little bonus that gets extra utility once the turn is passed.
Yeah. Yeah, Jared has to be careful too. He has to make sure that he does have the blue energy because the blue only untaps mono blue, not blue green. But...
Yep. And here, Jared playing a rival 45-degree right turn Android 16.
Yeah. Need to get out my protractor for that one. Is that we're going on?
The descriptor's right there. Android 16, limiter, disengaged.
Yeah.
A lot of keywords there. Arrival for green or blue. Blocker, revival, which means it's basically a double blocker, which is always nice.
And he can pop the active battle right now. So he gets the revive, which means the restand. And I think that is what is going on. Also, at the end of turn, he just switches to active mode too. So you got 2 blockers, potentially 3 with a revive. You have a
Sense of being in hand.
Yeah, I really like that Android 16. It's one of my favorite cards.
Yeah, it's super, super good.
Yeah, it's really flexible.
Underhand, I don't think players realize often the flexibility that this card provides in terms of just doing a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, and just the fact that it's the I really do like the new wave of arrival support where it's an optional of either blue or green or
Yeah.
like a lot of cards kind of have that option like the new Broly from the anniversary box.
Yep.
Oh, I put that in too many decks.
Gives a lot of flexibility in deck building.
Yeah, for sure.
It means you can be a monocolor deck that has the benefits of some multicolor stuff.
Yeah, I mean the super combos that are multicolor are great all by themselves anyways. So.
Yep. The amount of times I've run the blue yellow Zamasu in decks that had nothing to do with blue yellow.
Guilty.
So you're probably deciding on the block, the sequencing. I think there's an argument to block with Andrew 16 because it's easier card to remove.
Yeah.
So you want to get your usage out of it first before
For sure.
using like the unison's harder to get rid of and everything like that.
For sure. And I don't think we've seen any like big negates. You know, obviously Dimension Magic. I see a sense of being in hand, which always help on the defense as well. All right, so changing the symbols. Piano gets the extra draw. Man, that piano gets a lot of value.
All right, so the leader swing autos proccing off, and now is when blocker would proc because it is at auto speed timing.
Correct.
And yep, Jared here opting to block with limiter disengaged.
And so the fun thing about this too is that, you know, even if you're blocking with it, you can act, and it's going to die anyways. You use active battle. You
Yep.
pop it. You lose a marker from it immediately. Oh, but I guess not.
There's a thin hand, so there's value
Yeah.
in saying I just like my hand enough to not.
Well, he can always just pop the active battle mid defense step, and it
That's
dies
true.
anyways.
Just
so-
get rid of a marker.
Yeah, just get rid of the marker.
But at this point, I don't think the marker
Yeah, I
matters
think
all that
that
much. I mean, KP's at 8.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, and here comes another symbol.
And the Piccolo promo. Tap and 2. There's the Goku.
Oh, that's some pretty good tech. That's a good card.
Yep, so you can play this for 2 if you have 2 red battle cards in your combo area. And he's just such a good extender
Yep.
for a lot of just like most red decks are doing anyways.
Dual attack gets you an additional card on swing. It buffs a card by 5k
Yeah.
and has the permanent that on your turn cannot be removed.
Yeah,
So a very powerful card.
correct, yeah. And it does have deflect too, so you can't even, you know, counterplay it back in your hand. Very good investment.
Yep. Outside of negating its skills, you're kind of just watching it do its thing and
Yep.
hope you can deal with it on your turn, which you want to do because otherwise he's going to get more plusing off the swings as well as just massive 20k, effectively indestructible swings.
Yeah, so, but Jared is doing the Android 16 thing, so he used a Sense of Being to go up, and then he used a free combo from his drop era, and now he's paying the 2 to play the Android 16 to see if there's another combo. So it looks like he does discard.
Yep. So the crossing arms Android 16 will hit board here.
Sure did. And the other thing too is that, yeah, this Goku's really good, but he doesn't have protection on board, only getting into play. So the Majin Buu can use its -1 to pop it, which would be a good value. I think stopping 2 20k swings is huge. You know, once a new blocker, and no doubt, I think there has to be a Dimension Magic in Jared's hand, right?
I have to imagine. I mean, we haven't seen him use it too often, just because of how much he wants to go in the combo step. But at this point, I think you tap out like this, you most likely do.
Did he just use his Piccolo Jr. effect already this turn? His Unison? Oh, he did. Maybe I was thinking of last turn.
Right.
'Cause I thought he was just at 5.
He can put cards under him with the King
Oh,
Piccolo
that's
stuff to be
right.
able to
That's
bubble
right.
markers.
That's what it is. Okay.
Yeah,
That's why we're here.
of course. Guy shows back. And Jared here opting to go to 3, and Ernest saying, we're going to swing here.
Yep.
And we're going to get some value off of this Divine Presence.
And there's that Dimension Magic that I knew was in hand. 100%. Didn't even have to look. No doubt. Swing with it again. I'm really surprised he didn't pop it with the Majin Buu. I'm not sure what he's holding.
As the permanent can't be removed.
Oh, does it have that?
Yep. Permanent on your turn can't be
Oh,
removed. by
on your
skills.
turn.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So
Right.
I was complete. He does. I didn't see a red barrier text. So I'm like, oh, he has no protection.
Right,
so-
right. No. He's the permanent effectively makes him indestructible for the
Gotcha.
turn.
Okay.
Yeah.
That makes way more sense. So where do you think he's swinging into?
The leader. Right. He has to close out the game.
Yeah.
Burn is still an option for Jared. He still potentially has 2 utility ones.
And there's another Android 16 combo.
Yep.
But he does not get the energy back because the leader effect is only once per turn, right?
Yep, absolutely. At this point, Jared's saying we have enough energy to be able to make our plays. We just need to start establishing board and getting more protection on there.
Yeah.
Maybe opting to just try and close out the game in his turn at that point because he's still got Hatch and Zamasu as well as the Houston sticking on board.
Yeah, and that's what makes like this matchup really brutal is that you feel like you get punished for swinging because not only do they defend it and you lose advantage, but they gain advantage by you doing it too.
Yep. Here, both decks being able to do it, right? So
Yeah, exactly.
it's all about, gauging, like, Ernest is going to look at over at Jared's energy and be like, and Jared's looking over at Ernest's life and he's like, and that's going to be a big deciding factor into what they swing into and how they swing into things.
For sure. And this is still game 1.
Well, when we're talking about Jared's game, is very interactive. You know, he
Yes.
played incredibly quickly when he played against Rohit, but even then, that's just because of the speed of their game. They still ended up going to turn 7 and 8. So it's a very interactive matchup, very similar to what we see with Icarus. Any deck that's looking to play in the combo step very often leads to these deep interactive gameplays.
Yeah, because like even just the swing is so important. Just giving your opponent a combo step is huge.
Yep. So here we see the revival being used on 45-degree Android. I'm learning the names. This one's limited disengaged. Come on now.
And I know George, so I'm fine.
Yeah, there we go.
All right, so now using that. So I guess it is a limit once per turn, so if he did it earlier in the turn, then he wouldn't have got it.
Right. So I guess just opting to suit now.
Yeah. I think maybe he just had the thing of where he's like, oh, you know what? I have this play later in the turn too. If he tries to give, the Piccolo double strike for game,
Yep.
remove it, I win.
Yep. So Houston swing here, blocked by crossed arm Android 16. I'm just waiting for fadeaway Android 16 to hit play so that I can hit all of them.
Yeah. All right, steadfast.
This one's my favorite one. I think it's just blocker revenge is some of my favorite keyword combos.
He's got a lot of red text.
Yep.
And so, can you recycle those super combos? You can, right?
They're searchable, which is the biggest thing as to why
Okay.
these deck play them.
And he is going with the
God Seal.
God Seal for the Evo.
So KP tapped out.
Yeah. If you guys come to this Nats, one thing you should know: God Seal is a good card.
God Seal is a very good card.
It is a very, very good card.
A lot of interaction a lot of decks have at the moment still allow the card to hit board, which means the player's still able to get value on it. Blue being that one color that can consistently say no to that.
Yeah, I mean, blue's the deck and the color that has energy manipulation. So just to give it a card that says, oh, it's free, don't worry about it, and your opponent doesn't get any of the things it just paid for.
So here, Ernest in a very dangerous position. Not only does Jared have ways to remove cards from Ernest's hands, he's got dual attackers, he's got 40k attackers, he's got the double strikers.
Yeah.
And Ernest's hand isn't all that big. Sure, he's got the combo from life, but we're effectively looking at about 9 cards available. Now we're looking at about 8 with the Zamasu swing, and every single swing is going to chip away at that.
Yeah.
And that's without Jared committing anything to the board at the
How many
moment.
cards do you have left in deck? It looks very thin.
Looked about, he's got, a whole maybe 4 or 5 cards in there.
Yeah. Oh, and another negate with that Piccolo chain there. I was just say I didn't see any extra card negates, but it looks like there's a couple. There's
Yep.
one. There's one that sneaked in.
Yeah, it is free, so being tapped out ain't all that bad.
So unique double strike blocker. A double strike blocker you can play free is nuts. That also is a counterattack. So
Super fun, especially with KP, which is like such a easy unison to have stick on board.
yeah. All right, swing with the leader.
All right, we got double blaster leader Android 16 here with the swing.
Uses his free combo for the turn. And I think he's thinking about if there's a Android 21 he wants to get out of there. There is not a lot of cards in Jared's hand. He also does have, I believe, another Zamasu in there too.
Yo, this is it. Fade away Android 16, baby! Coming in with that dunk. Bear with me, chat. I am not a morning person. Steadfast ally hitting board.
Yeah, so 25k double strike when this card's played. Add up to 1 Android 21 with an energy cost 5 or less from your hand, or from your deck to your hand. Then shuffle your deck. Choose up to 1 Android 21 in your hand, and then you play it. And when this card attacks, your opponent has to discard one.
Yep. So here, basically, I think looking through the deck, realizing he doesn't have one, maybe it's in life, or maybe just looking to remind himself what's in there.
Yeah.
But basically, the 25k swing that will be able to rip a card, as well as be a double strike swing. So now, he has another threat on board that can effectively just close out the game by itself, is the biggest thing that this allows.
Yeah, but that burn would have been huge.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So does Ernest have? Okay, game 2. I think he's got 1 card left in deck.
Yeah, we're just gonna call it here.
Because he ends when he draws turn, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Okay.
So Jared here taking game 1 in the round. Android 16 putting in the insane amount of work that we saw do yesterday, and repeating that performance here. Ernest now going to have to figure out what cards can I bring in to help me mitigate with all this free board presence that is available. And those Raditz are actually an interesting choice. There is a decent amount of untap. Sensu Bean is one of Jared's most used cards to be able to get into these arrival plays. So maybe that's the tech you can include.
Yeah, and I think, a lot of people were thinking hand destruction was going to be good this event. And it was. It wasn't a blowout, but it was good. And so having something that is, has some easy counters for, and is something that people were already trying to play against, I think means that your side deck could have some options for that.
Yep, I think here Jared maybe bring in some cards that allow him to deal with white boards.
Yeah.
He doesn't want to overwhelm his drop, obviously, because he utilizes it so much for his plays.
Yeah.
But anything that allows him to kill 2 or 3 cards, I think, is something that he might be looking into. So here we're looking at potentially 4 to 5 cards they might be bringing in. So just try to mitigate the white boards that that Ernest brings in.
For sure. Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how this one goes. I'm biased, and only because Jared's kicked my butt too many times, so I need that. I only lost to the guy who got first or second, top 8 in Nats, so no big deal. I can wear that one, but
yeah. But this is still definitely anybody's game. KP is one of those decks that every time you think it's out, it's not out.
Yeah.
Just the fact that it's here in Nats, when oftentimes I think a lot of people are just like, yeah, KP's done. No, KP still applies a lot of pressure, and I think if you don't respect it, it'll definitely catch you off guard.
For sure. And so something else is that Jared did go first in this first game, and if you're not able to set up and protect yourself from all the swings that Piccolo can have, it could be really different the second game.
Yep, absolutely. Like the turn 2 disengage, the turn 2 ramp play is super powerful. But way more so as a turn 1 player than a turn 2 player. Tapping out, for turn 1 you're committed to a multicolor play. So depending if it's the right one, you might not even get it stood. And then turn 2, committing to a full tap out to be able to ramp, which is super powerful, but you don't have the enough sparking for Dimension Magic at that point. Your leader might not be awakened. You might not have an Android in drop to help you be able to combo. So it's a precarious situation that Jared's going to have to think about. I still think ramping's the right play.
Yeah, for
because then your deck's online a turn faster, and a turn faster you get Majin Buu, all the better. But it's definitely something he's got to consider depending on the amount of pressure that Ernest decides to push on turn 2.
Definitely. I mean, especially if it's kind of what I've been saying too, that if you see the hatch, sure, you can ramp up to 3, which is the requirement for hatch to be played too. So it could be that emergency button you need to at least get to turn 4.
Yeah, and I mean, hatch is at snap keep. You see it in hand, you definitely keep it because it is effectively, I get another turn.
And also, I think one of the things that make King Piccolo really strong is that normally when you have an aggressive deck, it's a trade-off between taking cards from your life to get that extra advantage. And so King Piccolo doesn't really do that as much. It does start a little bit lower once again, but it doesn't start taking cards from life. It can do some extra combos from there too and everything else, but it's not something that I think it can go wide without making it obvious that you only have a couple cards in life, right? You can have a lot of options with that.
It cycles incredibly well. It sees a lot of cards. And while the hand size can be actually super large, I'm not even going to say otherwise, it's the fact that the hand quality is really good because you're just consistently getting cards you don't want out of hand and putting the ones that you do in hand.
For sure. And just in general, cards trade 1 for 1 in this game very easily. Most cards are 5P combos, right? And so if you can fan out your hand, sure, that's really offensive, but it can be really defensive too.
Yeah, and usually the thing is that the hand usually won't be stuck with a lot of archetype cards because they're all being life, right?
Yeah.
So you know that usually King Piccolo's hand is gas, protection, anything that's not archetypal, which is kind of nice. You know, you have your archetypal cards on the side that you can utilize for your combo whenever you want, and then your hand has, you know, your Gokus and other tech cards that can apply a lot of pressure. And here we do see the peel-off coming in, the cunning cards to prevent some of the untapped shenanigans that Jared might have available to him.
For sure. So I think that's going to be huge. I think also something that swung it to Jared's favor this game is that he was able to snipe that super combo out of life. I don't know if Ernest was thinking that, you know, oh, it's going to be safe in life. I don't want it to be, you know, able to discard from hand or something like that. But, you know, that I don't think that worked out the way he wanted it to. And so if he's able to resolve that card, that could be super different too.
Yep. So here we see the pickup of the super combo, which is very nice, even though it won't get its ability when it gets recurred. A lot of the Android 16 cards are actually 5k combos, specifically because of how the archetype works.
Yes, exactly.
So getting another Android that's a 10k combo definitely ups the usability of the Awakened Side Leader when he has to get there.
And turn 2, which means it's the Unison turn. Drawing 1 extra card every turn seems pretty good.
Pretty good, especially with this KP probably surviving until the end of the game. I mean, we saw KP at what, 9 markers?
Yeah, exactly.
going into the end of the first game.
So it's going to be interesting to see if just, you know, Jared saying, all right, he milled himself out last game. Can that happen again, right? Can I just be really defensive and really obnoxious and then make it so my opponent just can't win?
Yep. Jared here going for the ramp as he chills at 7 life going into Ernest.
Super good hit with it too.
Turn 3.
Oh, and then that King Piccolo.
That's actually exactly what you want to see.
It's super good.
Well, there's a threat. If you put anything good in your life, I'm going to get rid of it at some point.
Yeah, exactly. So he does get the, he's doing the swing, so he's doing the discard to draw 2. And he's thinking. I'm surprised that, I mean, actually, you know, Jared knows what he's doing, but it does really stink that, you know, you do have to do the blind top of deck to get the card in your energy, and, you know, hitting the hatch feels really, really bad. If there's a way to bounce it back to hand with like a Zeno combo or
Zeno sometimes an option, but you also do want to make sure you have your Android 18s to be able to get your rival plays off way easier. So it's a trade-off for sure. But as you know, for how much you feel like statistically it's supposed to happen, it definitely feels like it happens way more often than it should.
Yeah, well, it's, you know, 6 or 7 times a game you know, do the blind top of deck with all the, you know, energy, playing from energy, then replacing it kind of thing, so.
Right. All right, and Ernest going for the Awaken, setting himself back to 6 life, and Jared taking the swing, bringing him down to 6.
Even ground now.
Yeah, we're playing the same game now.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, so he's getting a lot of his value cards out now. So he gets additional card draw every turn with his Unison and with the piano. You know, that Piccolo Jr. is a big threat because it's a double strike and a blocker that's played for free, which, I mean, luckily it's plays and rest. If that card got played in active mode, I'm like, oh my god, okay.
That'd be incredibly.
You guys want King Piccolo, I get it. Like,
it's already incredibly good.
Yeah. And so if these cards can kind of stick around for a long time, it's going to do just reoccurring damage to.
Yeah. All right, Jared just taking it and saying, you know, we will go to 4 life.
But that's just the nice thing about this leader too. Is like the first 3 life doesn't really matter that you swing, just because you're going down to 5 anyways when you self-awaken. So.
Right. Here we saw Jared when he had to throw away an Android, thinking about which one he gets rid of. You know, do I get rid of a 10k one that I'd rather have value for right away?
Oh, so there's a sensu bean. Does Piccolo get that proc?
Does it work off sensu bean or is it off like negates or stuff?
Let me go check.
Yeah, because there are a couple of blue bullets. Some of them proc on sensu bean. Some of them proc off. Some of them proc off of dimension magic.
I'm looking.
All right, and there go both Android 16s as Yamcha clears out the board a little bit, which is fine. The 2-drops really don't do much on board. Once he's played it, it kind of just sits there. I mean, it is a swing that he can like use his leader's free combo with to get in there.
For sure. Yeah, so the Piccolo, peel off the cunning says, when he plays card draw on 1, and then for the duration of the game, if the turn player would use the skill of battle card or an X card to switch energy to active mode, it can't be switched. And choose 5 cards from the dropper, and it should work. Which also warping cards from your drop area is huge for Jared too, because he does use a lot of those cards for those combos later.
Yep. So here the cunning, I guess, preventing proactive beans, but not
Yes.
defensive beans.
Yeah, which I don't think Jared was doing too often.
No, generally when he was using beans, it was on the opponent's turn. You get the defensive, and then being able to then do the arrival. So while this definitely slows down the play and makes it a little bit tighter, as long as he's using it defensively, it's not too bad.
Yeah, yeah. There's the boy. Stalwart? Is that one Stalwart?
Stalwart defender.
Yeah. Cool. All right. Swing with the unison. Yeah, and so this is kind of the situation we're talking about. So yeah, sure, Jared did get the ramp. Oh, okay, but we're passing over. But it could just be a lot of pressure. He's already down to 4 life. And we're going to see, was it that important to get to the Majin Buu unison a turn earlier?
Yep, especially since he had to spend his awaken early to be able to protect himself for potentially what Ernest was going to do. So great job on Ernest to be able to apply pressure enough to force Jared on the early awaken.
So I think he's swinging into the unison. That's always the guess. You're like, oh, I guess it's that one.
Yeah, they flick it over to the corner, and it's like, well, there's 2 cards there. I mean, lots of reasons I would be using though, right? Because it allows you to go into your combo step without having to worry about what your opponent's going to do.
Yeah. Again, there's that Majin Buu. Just so much value for 4.
When I first read the card, I'm like, oh, this card's not even that great because it doesn't even plus.
Yeah.
And then you realize, no, you know what? Turns out that's not a problem. A +0 is perfectly balanced for this card.
It is yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's on my. I don't know. I like playing blue, and I think it's a great card, and it's definitely something like you need something to ramp into, right? You need something that's good to get to turn 4, and we've seen that with like a Booney and other cards like that. But man, it is so much value. Would you say it's the best unison in the game, or is there something that else has your eye?
I think it's definitely the most game warping unison at the moment. It's the moment Boo hits board, the entire gameplay wraps around how do you deal with his abilities.
Yeah, I think so.
So while I think there's an argument to be like Dark Broly's still incredibly good, and it's really hard to say that he might not be one of the best.
Yeah.
Your whole game wraps around Majin Buu once he hits board.
For sure. No, they definitely wanted to make Bojack good, so they're just like, all right, fine. We're trying our best. Like, no, don't use him for other leaders. No.
Yeah,
Wait a minute.
Yeah, Bojack's so good. Every deck wants to use Bojack.
Exactly. No, I think it was fun and it's strong too, but at the same time, like, man, blue could be so obnoxious if anything could use those extra cards. Like or just free play of Bojack for your energy is so powerful.
When was the last time you played a green deck that didn't have Ribrian? Mr. is so powerful that every X color deck has available of this card.
Man, that Rebrand's so good. I don't know. I rarely build decks with them in the standard, but I'm just like, it just makes it better. Why would I not? Get over yourself.
Yeah, but that's absolutely fair. You definitely want to see a bit of diversity out there as the decks are playing out.
Yeah. All right.
Another Sensu Bean, I believe, in Jared's hand, so that's very nice.
Yes. If just not on his turn.
Yeah, yeah. So this is defensive right now.
Oh, is it defensive?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. Yeah, he switched over. Sorry. I saw the negate gameplay. I'm like, okay.
All right, comboing fadeaway 16. Arrival from hand?
Maybe.
Opting not to?
So I think something that that gets kind of made look easy because Jared does a really good job at it is your charges are doubly important in this deck. It's not necessarily a case of what won't I have options for, but more of a, how do I want to play this card?
Yep, and a huge value Yamcha here for Ernest clearing out the board, but giving Jared the opportunity to then play off another.
He's so tricky.
Limited disengage.
He's just like, there's always just another one.
That's what he was debating, right? He had tapped the 2 originally. He's like, wait, Yamcha's still alive, and that would clear my board. So how about we get 1-on-1 instead?
Yeah.
And try and deal with it.
And are Yamcha's 14k or 15k?
They are 15k.
Okay, cool. The Vegetas are 14ks.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think does Ernest have 6 life now?
He's still at 6. He has not taken. After he.
I think he took a life.
He rejuvenated the one from the Awaken, and ever since then he's been coasting. He's been doing a phenomenal job of mitigating Jared's board while applying pressure. And here Jared going down to 3.
Yeah, definitely when we were making this stream setup too, we're like, oh, numbers always go down, but just like, oh shoot, rejuvenation. Like,
Yeah, rejuvenation's the thing.
yeah, we gotta make sure that the life counter looks good for that too.
All right, so these 15k swings are gonna have to commit Ernest into some kind of combo, and just like I said here, turns out this blocker's pretty good if it didn't get it 2-stitch first time around.
All right. And the Android 18. The obnoxious thing about the Android 18 too is that it doesn't actually discard. It just bomb decks, right?
Yep.
Which, I mean, maybe gives you another turn if you're trying to mill him out, right? But oh man, how many? He played like 3 Android 18s last game too, and he still milled himself out. That's crazy.
So now the Android 18's in drop, I think it gives him his first 10k blue-green, so it's going to make his Awakened Leader way more powerful in terms of using his free combo every turn.
For sure.
All right,
Max powers.
Bye-bye.
You can't even revive that either. It gets warped.
Oh yeah, because revives only if it gets KO'd, right?
I don't know, Wayoed.
Well, I hadn't considered it, but I guess if he gets his power neg to 0, he wouldn't be able to revive either. Because it's not a KO.
I'm not going to say you're wrong. I'm going to say you're right. That's not my position.
Hey, you always know when Brian nods saying you're right. I always appreciate that. Thanks, Dad.
I don't know about that. I wouldn't base your rightitude on that. All right, tapping the 4 for the boy.
Woo! Let's go. This is a different one. This isn't even the same fadeaway one. This is 45-degree fadeaway. Shee!
You see, Brian, stop nodding.
Well, see, the looks of dismissal are what I'm
like
used
a sideways nod.
Yeah, the looks of dismissal is what I'm used to. I got to bring him back, you know?
Yeah.
All right, and here is the Android 21. Going to be able to give him an additional ramp. Get the search.
Oh, looks like he whiffs. Yeah.
That's tough.
Is it a whiff or does he get a... Is it just a blue-green card? What does it find?
Oh, good question.
It looks like it just ramps something. Okay.
Yep, just a ramp up a card.
Sorry, he ramped early because of the leader effect. I thought.
Yes, the replacement effect of when the card gets played.
Yeah. Man, I'd be so tempted to play Xeno because then you could put that Dimension Magic in into your energy, and then if you have Xeno, put it back, and then use the Dimension Magic if you need to.
Yeah, I think a deck like this, I always utilize at least like a 50-50 split.
Yeah.
Where like half Xeno, half some like Android 18s or something.
Yeah, obviously those Android 18s are super important.
Yeah, so it's definitely a decision. Whoa!
Ooh, and there it is.
Hey, I mean, hey, this is definitely one of those useful matchups.
Got him in hand.
Absolutely.
You guys couldn't see it, but we have one right here.
Yeah, it was really funny. For those guys who don't know, at the entrance of the tournament, day 1, there were players that had Deborah Rituals at hand because, of course, Cell Surge was one of the boogeymen, and they were just handing out play sets of Ritual at hand to the players coming into the event.
You love it. You love to see it.
Yeah, but actually, super good card here, right? Like for 1 cost, you draw 2 cards, you get an additional card on board, which is what he's already King Piccolo's already trying to do. Actually, super good tech in this matchup.
Yeah, and I'm really curious why Ernest decided to go with the blue-red secret rare too, because Pan would be so easy.
It's free.
Yeah, it's so easy
free
to
in this
get
deck.
out in this deck.
I'm not sure. I mean, you like it's. You could almost say it's a better threat because it is a double striker.
Yeah.
But alternatively, Pan is like anything you want it to be.
Yeah.
So. But of course, maybe it's access as well. You never know. I mean, it got him here, so he knows something that we don't.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, Ernest going down to 3 life, and then Jared saying, "That's all I'm going to do on my turn. Up to you next."
Once again, we've not seen a hatch this game, which is, again, just emergency. Oh, it's right there in hand. Of course it is. Why would you not? You could not get this far into tournament without having that hatch.
Of course not. Hey, you got to run hot. Some of these players, they run hot.
Yeah, it is. It's the card that wins games, 100%. I know it when Jared was playing yesterday, and Android 21 was able to drop. Yeah,
and there it is. Jared saying, "You know what? I liked my last turn so much that I'm gonna opt to get another one."
Yeah, exactly. Super Shenron, got banned because, or got fixed because of the double turn. So, yeah, in any card game, just being able to go twice is just absurd.
Yeah, I think there's a couple of value plays here that Ernest can make, but most of his value comes from being able to go into combat.
For sure, 100%. And just being able to straight up say, no more combat.
Yep.
Peace talk.
And there's tight life totals here, right? We're at 3 to 3. We're getting into the grindier part of the match now. But Ernest doing a good job making sure that he's not losing too many cards here.
I think the big thing, like that hatch looks so pretty too. Like if that card, if he showed up in front of me, I'd stop fighting too.
Yeah, of course. I mean, he looks big, bulky, scary. He's got the gold on his armor as well as the foiling.
Yeah, it's a very pretty card.
All right, looks like they're trying to Ernest here evaluating what his options are, get the card draw, do as much as you can.
I wonder if he was thinking if Rejuvenation was the play, because he does have that open to him right now.
That is available to him, absolutely. The big combo naturally being that you want to get your swing with Tambourine first.
Yeah.
So then it's a big 3-drop that can also remove cards from board,
Yeah.
as well as being the giving the Rejuvenate. But at the end of the day, Burn is available. You know, he's got double strikers on board.
Yeah.
So if Jared opts to, because he does have it in energy, to go for the Android 21, then he's in double strike range.
Yeah, well, Ernest trying his best to say the same thing right back. I want my turn back. He has to pay a little bit more for it, but
yep,
it's going to be pretty powerful.
There is going to be the neg from 45-degree fadeaway.
What do you mean the viewer count's plummeting?
Ooh, it's pretty good.
They're Deborah. Oh
That's
my god.
pretty good. Ernest saying, I want cards.
Sure does. Does help. But he's getting dangerous to mill himself again too. You gotta be careful.
Maybe that's the strat. Maybe you know, a couple more turns of this, and maybe Jared's gonna be able to coast a mill out.
Yeah. And so Deborah specifically, we have it right there. Does it say specifically your opponent's effects?
I guess it is in my hand, isn't it? When this card is card from your hand by an opponent's skill, play this card from the drop area. And then just when it's played, you draw the 2.
So if Jared had his own, he could swing, and then if Topo was in, we saw that a lot with like the end of when Tien was a legal card. People would tech in Tien because if you got discard with the Topo.
The Tau, right?
The Tau, sorry, the Tau.
That rips.
Yeah.
So now it's like I lose 2 cards, but you lose 2 cards.
Yeah, exactly right. Just like it'd be really amusing to see that kind of same thing with the board. Just like, oh, you're making me discard, bam, free cycle.
Yep. One of the most intense plays I've seen in wrapping up the last online regionals that we had was a swing with a double Deborah play. Because he pitched 2 cards.
Yeah. Oh.
So that was a draw 4 right off the bat for 2 energy. That was incredibly spicy.
All right, swing with one of the D boys.
All right, we got the combo. We're going to a rival. Let's go. Another 45-degree fadeaway coming on board. Searching up for a Android 21 in deck. We're going to get the burn 21. Goes to hand and then from hand to be able to play and burn Ernest down to 2, as well as remove a card on board.
For sure. And I'm thinking he's going to probably pop that 4-drop.
Oh, no.
He's got his own spicy tech.
The tech.
Oh, my God.
The villainous tech. Incredible.
Making sure we have our phones handy on us today. Jeez, let me look it up.
Yeah.
Judge has to read it. He's like, oh, man.
Yeah, we got ready and read up a lot of cards, guys, but the villainous cards were not ones we were expecting to see all that much play today.
Yeah. That's probably the only... What is it? What's the rarity called? It's an IVR.
Yeah, so like there was the villain rares and there were the
What's the ice like? It's like
ignoble.
Ignoble. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, ignoble villain rares.
All right. So this card says so it's villainous, which probably won't. It's a not well used tag, but is when you play another villainous battle card or activate a villainous extra card, your opponent chooses 1 card in their hand, place it in the drop area, and negate the skill. So if you keep playing villainous stuff, they stack, but they're not.
Right.
Also, auto, choose 1 card in your energy, place it in your drop area. When you play this card, choose all your opponent's battle cards, any cost of 4 or less, and place them at the bottom of your opponent's deck. That is such a spicy board wipe.
What an incredible
I put my phone back down after looking up, like, oh, shoot, where's all those cards?
Yeah, Jared's just looking through the entirety of Ernest boards and being like...
choose what the bottom deck is. Okay, definitely no mill.
But what we were saying, Jared needs to bring in things to mitigate board, and... What a spicy play. I had never considered that 45-degree fade can play this villainous board wipe.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
What great tech.
That is like a discard.
It's searchable tech.
It's searchable.
It's searchable tech. That's so good.
Oh.
I'm jealous.
Yeah.
I have never considered this line of play, and I'm so incredibly jealous.
Yeah. It is a good time. That's why best of three has so much fun stuff with it too. I personally am trash at the format. I'm like only okay at best of one, but man, when your best of three tech comes in, oh, you feel so
You
good.
feel so good, and then especially when your opponent asks you, "What's that do?"
Yeah.
You're like,
Yeah.
"Oh,
Oh, you
okay."
use the spy. Oh, man, when I used to kind wish with Chilai and be like, people didn't know the card existed, and they make just as wide a board and be like, for 0, bottom deck your entire board. Like, what?
Yep.
in in 2019 or what 2018 format when that wasn't a thing either.
Yeah, that's my favorite question of all time. What does that do?
Yeah, exactly. Oh, so he's
Whoa,
spinning.
spicy!
Oh my gosh.
Wow, all the spice.
Why am I putting
Judge
my
once
phone away?
again. Judge once again. Brian looking at us like, why are these players pulling out these cards? Bringing out. Is that the draft box Goku?
I think it looks like a counter board wipe too. It's alternate art, and you can't just search Goku and assume you find the right one. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna try for it. Oh man, that Goku's so powerful, it's breaking the stream setup.
There's no way you're finding
No,
him.
I'm finding. All right, 24 results, 500 to go. All right, whatever it did, it's gone.
Yeah, he paid 5 and it went away.
Yeah. And then Majin Buu's like -1.
Yeah, we'll do our research and come back to you guys with the answer on that. I mean, you guys will probably tell us. You guys, chat knows way more than we do.
Yeah.
All right, going into Jared's turn. Ernest is sitting at a cool 4 life. Okay, I think there might have been one over there that got smoothed over that we didn't see, but sitting at 4 life to Jared's 3, and definitely now the onus is on Jared to close out the game here.
Yeah, that was a huge turn. Both players pretty much lost half of their cards. I think he's saying if he wants to charge that Android 21, it does have energy exhaust.
He still has one in there though.
Yes.
So I think you could charge it, right? You pay the 5, you can still have energy available.
Okay, so he decided that there was no charge for there. Get the spice attack, you can go for it.
All right, so Son Goku off to defeat King Piccolo. I was right. This was the draft box SR, the one that your boy actually got to reveal. Deflect, triple attack, permanent. If your leader card is red, your opponent can't activate blocker skills like most of the cards do for the King Piccolo archetype. And then if your leader card is red, when this card is played, choose all your opponent's battle cards. They get -20k power for the turn. Then choose one of your red unison cards and add a marker to it. So, like I said, you're gonna board wipe me. Yeah. I'm gonna board wipe you.
And luckily that Majin Buu can take care of it too. It couldn't block the swing, but could use the -1 for it. And there we go. And he did have to tap out for it too.
Yep, and this is a dangerous position, right? I mean, he's still gonna be able to have the extra combo from his life, which is fine, but nevertheless a dangerous position. All right, and here we go, comboing 45-degree fadeaway to play cross-arm Android 16.
And it looks like is he using the rejuvenation or the -2 ability? And even though it's not used as often, the -2 ability on that King Piccolo is pretty crazy too. Like, and everyone, like I was like, oh man, this isn't too bad. And then I think me and a lot of people also assume like, oh, the card that you did the thing for also dies. Like, no, it's just
no, it's
a
just
big
there.
boy. It's just a big
coast.
boy.
You just have to pick
everything. Yeah, you just have to pick it. Like, oh shoot, that's great.
Yeah, I think King Piccolo was definitely one deck that I and a lot of people in the community slept on. It read like an archetype though, like first the 6 life and the way that you have to like the combo and everything, and you have to play all these archetype cards. But it's one of those decks that exceeds expectations when played versus what's theory crafted, and that's why you always have to give a deck a chance.
Yeah.
Understand the ins and out because you're always gonna get decks like these that surprise and like
for sure. And that's like, Cell Surge a lot of way. A lot of people didn't think that card was good. It's like, oh, you get no card draw. You don't need it. Like, it's the consistent search is way better.
Yep. So here, Ernest comboing off, still coasting at a cool 4 life.
He gets his 1 drum, giving it's just -15 or is it -10? -10.
-10 as well as the barrier block. 118. I lose a card. You lose a card.
Definitely not milling.
Definitely not milling at this point.
And super combo. another 15, so it takes it out. Or defends it, rather.
All right.
Swings with the 6-drop. And that does have a card discard, but he does take the life for it.
It's a dual attacker. It's very obnoxious. Dual attack, blocker, revenge. He's got 2 of them on board. One of them is minus 10k, so it's not too bad. But...
yeah, grabbed his hidden life.
All right, there we go. So Ernest now down to 3-3. We are now at life parity. That hatch has spent an incredible amount of time. I will say though, Red has a tough time with big numbers.
It really, really does.
The lack of hard removal definitely makes it difficult for the deck to be able to deal with something that sticks on board.
Yeah, I mean, luckily it's just like a big single 40k swing, but it does something. Like it.
Yeah.
I think that's why it's so good to play early in this matchup. Even though sometimes you're like, oh, why'd you could gotten greedier and everything. He does put a lot of pressure.
Yep. Here, Jared has a lot of incentive to maybe not attack because he doesn't want to lose his Android 16s.
Yeah.
They do represent 2 additional blocks as well as
sure.
Revenge, which is board clear. So if Ernest has anything in terms of negates that could get rid of it, that could be obnoxious. But here, we just see the Cybermen blocker eat the massive 40k swing and just deal with that way.
Yeah, and the other thing is that it could represent, one of the androids has already have the minus 10k, and it could make it so they get popped or something like that. So you gotta be careful with that too. There's 3 blockers, 4 blockers with the unison. Yeah, that's gonna be tough. But Piccolo does have, a big ender too. Only run one of them.
But the SCR here not being, we've seen it in life a lot. We've seen it go to drop a lot. We have yet to see it get played. So maybe this might be the matchup where we finally see the fruition of Ernest's tech.
All right, so swing in with the Piccolo Jr. I think an easy block.
Yeah, looking at Ernest's hand, it is insane to think that this is the same hand that doubled the board.
And I think that was an easy pitch of the blue-green ramp android. You don't need that anymore. You'd rather have another blocker on board.
Yep, absolutely.
And something to consider too is that the big Piccolo, you can't activate blocker on those swings, right?
Nope.
Sure can't.
So if you can get him down to 2, it's going to be a very scary spot. Yes and no, because Jared does effectively have many ways to remove battle cards in the middle of combat.
Yeah, for sure.
But if Ernest can time it right when Jared might not have the energy to do so, it'll be very dangerous. Tambourine here coming into play, definitely one of the best aggressive cards that Ernest has available to him.
Yeah.
Dual attack, gets a little bit chonky.
Very chonky. Right, and that's the revenge blocker, right?
Absolutely. All right, and here we see the unison swing on unison swing, and here Jared probably saying you know what, if you want to get rid of a card to put him down to 1, that's fine.
Well, I think he swung into leader and he chose to block with it, which is really interesting because you going down to 1 marker is huge. You can't use your counterplay trunks for free anymore, and that could be a big stopper.
Yep. So here, if Ernest wants to get rid of the Majin Buu, he swings with the card on board first.
Yeah.
You're opting to just get the top search from the Piccolo, which I guess if that gets bounced, he doesn't really care all that much.
Yeah.
There it is.
That's the card.
The ruler that cannot be blocked. So now Ernest has a big onus to try and get Jared down to 2 life.
Yeah, so I think he was trying to pop the Piccolo Jr. expecting that he could, have that Evo, but just playing a 1-drop and doing the Evo instead worked just as well. And, Piccolo Jr. is probably not used to having so much dang energy.
Generally not. I mean, it's a deck that thrives very much so on 3-4 energies.
But, he did have that big 5 energy, 5 energy Goku as well. So he was expecting to get there. And giving the buff to the drum as well. So yeah, it's very tricky for, if I was sure, it'd be really tricky to find out how many more swings are available for Ernest. You know, you do have ways to mitigate them. You have a blocker, and you do have the -1 pop, but you have to choose it very carefully.
Yep. I mean, every energy here represents a 15 to 20k battle card. Some of which can attack twice. So.
Specifically choosing that android for the.
Of course. 10K. I mean, 45 fadeaway has the best look of them all.
Yeah.
All right, and here we see KP going in and opting to just, you know what, we'll go ahead and for it. I mean, it's interesting because you can just use the Majin Buu here if he doesn't want to deal with it.
For sure. I think that is totally fine. And the Majin Buu is fairly fragile too, but obviously if it stays around for another turn, it's a lot of value again too.
It's a lot of value. It's a card draw. It's a double strike swing. Though sitting at one. Oh, no, we're just gonna go into the combo step. One card for one card, please.
Yeah, I mean he does have 3 life, so he's not super scared, right? And if I think he does have ways to mitigate that kind of stuff. There's no Android 16s in the energy though to get that arrival, but there can be some in hands you do the same arrival with.
Yep, but like you're saying, at the moment he is out of options as far as his energy goes. So this might also be why Ernest decided to time his aggression there, because he said, I don't know what's in his hand, but his hand size isn't super big and the energy isn't threatening me. So.
And so Ernest passes with 3. We see the Topo in life, so you can just take the damage, and then Topo's thinking, trying to get that to be enough for you. So we'll see what he decides.
Which would be, I mean, Jared doesn't have a lot of cards in hand. I mean, if he plays anything out, that's one pitch or something like that.
So here's the other thing too. Oh, so you can use the 4 energy. That Android 21 is in the energy. So if you do 2 damage, you are good.
Yep. So here, definitely incentivized to go for a double strike swing.
Yeah.
Get to 1, close out the game.
For sure.
However, no charge means that it costs 4 or 5.
4.
4, but you have to pop an energy on play.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
So I think this is a smart move to try to just have that big
Yep.
swing.
Make it a play. Force him to have to commit his hands.
Yeah. So that is a 25 meter effect.
The one thing about this deck is that there are a lot of 1k or 5k 1 combos. So if he wants to go for the Android 21 line, he is committed to not using any of his energy, which means his combo power is a little bit dim.
For sure. But it is tied right now too, so he needs that extra 5k. I mean, Drum is also a blocker as well. He's got so much utility in that card too.
Yep, it's so good. I mean, it's removal.
Yeah.
It can swing because it has a valid body. It's a barrier blocker.
Here's the thing too, but you also have to make sure you have enough cards in hand for a Topo if you want to use it too. Oh, interesting. Using the Piccolo. Oh, it does it have unique? The Piccolo Junior counter.
I believe you can only have one on board.
Okay.
Be kind of broken if you couldn't.
Oh yeah. All right. For 4 card casting, I'm guessing another Majin Buu. So it looks like having that Android 21 can be also just big bait, right? You just stare at it all game. You know it's there. You know your opponent has the option to do it.
That's it. Like, you can force Ernest into lines that aren't fit. Oh, and are we finally about to see it?
Let's do it.
Ooh, the SCR goes to draw, pays the 2. About time the Radiant Saints finally make their showing on stream in this finals match.
So I know what it does, but
for the sake of our viewers, right?
Yeah, for the sake of our viewers, I'm gonna make sure I know exactly what it says 100%. So it's the new secret, or one of the new secret rares. This has ultimate. If this card's removed from your rally or whatever, if your opponent has 2 or more energy, your other card is red or blue, and the other card is doing double strike crit. And for 2 auto at the end of battle, which this card is used in a combo, play this card then from your drop area. If you don't, choose up to 4 of your opponent's battle cards, place it to the bottom of their owner's deck, and remove this card from your drop area from the game. So it can be a board wipe, and get rid of that hatch finally, and be really obnoxious.
Yep, a big, beefy, powerful 40k double striker. Probably the biggest source of pressure that Ernest has available to his deck.
And I think with the wording too, that one, you would definitely not want to counterplay Trunks back to the hand.
Oh.
But even if you did, it still gets the board wipe because you did not play it.
Yep, it still gets the full value there, and you can play it again. Because it didn't hit board, so the permanent never procs, so it never has to leave game and never go anywhere. So you think here the choice is the play or the board wipe?
There it is, tapped out.
And it's the board wipe. Yep, and there go the cards. Hatch leaves the game, and the Android 16 is bottom decked.
For sure. Yeah, that's a huge play. Now, Ernest only has the one card in hand, but there are a lot of scary swings on board. Jared does get an untap, which is huge too. Being tapped out is very scary. Yeah, I think popping the drum's fine. I mean, if he wants to protect it, he can, but
At this point, it's a game advantage.
Yeah.
Who sees more cards?
Yeah.
At the moment, Ernest has a pretty sizable board. He's going to get another one because he has another symbol down there in energy. So,
Yeah.
so Jared's going to have to utilize his cards very carefully.
so now Ernest, he does have a bunch of energy, but drawing an extra card. I think it's a Frieza Death Game. There's a big scary Goku that could finish the game by himself if he plays it right. That 3 swings could be really impactful.
Yep, if he can bait out the Majin Buu block and marker proc, then it leaves free reign for Goku to just come in, big massive dual attack swings.
And it does have deflect too.
Yep, so it's gonna hit board for sure. You commit, once you bait out some of the Majin swings, you commit to your combos to be able to maybe get Jared down to 2, and then you go into the Monumental or the Divine Presence, and then that's taken on board for sure.
Yeah, and so Jared also does get the double untap because he did have 2 Majin Buus on board last turn, so they did stack that way. Which once again, most of I'd say the options that Ernest has to go in are pretty squishy.
For the most part, yeah, especially against a deck like Jared's, which is all about battle card interaction.
How scared are you to go down to 2 as Jared?
Incredibly.
Okay.
Just because, I don't have any Android 16s in my energy anymore. The level of interaction, like, he's played a lot of Android 16s, and he's running thin. I got 3 cards in hand, like...
I know there's a trunk in Jared's hand, but I'm not sure exactly what else.
Yeah, and it's just, Ernest has all his energy. And sure, he doesn't have a ton of cards, but King Piccolo is so incredibly good at being able to dish out attacker after attacker after attacker. So if I don't have a floodgate-like ability, I am going to have a very tough time.
That was a good top deck there. So he does have the 4-drop Goku in hand now, so he could do the from there. Also, Jordan Markle, Cell Surge, top 4. Wish I could say I was surprised.
Okay, congratulations to Jordan Markle, itching ever so closer to a repeat of his 2018 performance.
Jared's going down to 1.
That's a tight spot.
Not looking great.
We may be looking to a turn. Whoa!
Yes, though.
No, I mean, I'd argue you just hardcast the Divine Presence at this point. It only costs 4. You have a dual attack, 25k swings. Like,
Yeah, I'm not sure what
I mean, sure, like
sure.
you're feeling safe with Topo, but like, I don't think there was a reason to give Jared another turn here.
Yeah.
It might not actually end up mattering because the Topo does basically mean the turn's over, but
Because Jared does not have the cards. in hand
I
to-
don't know what Ernest.
Oh.
Release ball. I mean, it's gonna come back, but
But that is 2 more energy he has to invest.
And another card.
And another negate.
and another card. And if he has got a God Seal, there's the burn.
Yeah.
Yamcha's fine.
I mean, you just pop the Yamcha because I think it's better than
Yes.
not.
So I think the line here might just be that.
Well, if he can
Go for
discard,
the single-
if he can discard a card from hand, he can't topo, but never mind, he's got wings.
So right, because now he was lining up for a swing with his Majin Buu, but I don't know if that's gonna get there.
Yep, getting the topo negate there.
There's the
Oh,
God Seal.
Sealing.
And now the Majin Buu swing. Use the
Oh my goodness.
activate battle. Get a 10k combo. Combo out your hand. Call it for game. What are we looking like?
40k.
40k over here. 15k body. What
He's
is
got-
Ernest have?
Oh my gosh.
What does Ernest have? That's it. It's
Yeah,
over.
oh my
Jared
gosh.
closing it down, lining up that sequencing, baiting out that topo time after time until he says, you have no more energy to stop me here.
That is crazy. Just being able to stop both topos is, and that's just free discard too. He does have the Devore in hand, but it's his own effect, so that is insane.
What absolutely
Yeah.
phenomenal sequencing on Jared.